All right, I'll tell you after a few minutes what's in view here. It's something I found on the street while I was cleaning the neighborhood. Now, let me go through some of the things I found. The best thing I ever found was $100 bill. I was cleaning a certain area around a certain house, and it was a rental house, and the kids in there were from China, and they were going to the Mennonite school. Now, since then, uh, basically the Mennonites stopped allowing the Chinese to come to their school, but they used to they built a dormitory for them, and everything was going along well until somebody started trouble with China, and then being Mennonites, they followed along, and then they had to close three schools and move what they had left of students to one school, uh, non-Chinese students. All right, so I'll let you read into it. But this item here is I found it in the street, and as soon as I looked down at it, I knew what it was. All right, so I found $100 bill, and then one time I was cleaning up near this like abandoned car, and laying there was a pipe on the ground, and it was a custom bong, but it was a one that used that new. It was powered by batteries, the heating element in it, and I picked it up. It was really heavy, and it had a name on it, like it was the guy's name that designed it. It had a signature on it. It went right in the garbage bag and into the garbage, and out it went. But when you clean the street, you can find anything. And a lot of times, one time I was cleaning, and by this guy's house, uh, and I told him, I said, "You got a coin spill out there in the street." And he's like, "What?" I said, "There's a coin spill. You can't see it because it's in front of that car that's in front of your house. But in the street, you got a bunch of quarters and dimes, I think it was." So he walks up there and he's like, "Holy crap." I said, "You're going to need a jar. That's how many dimes and quarters are." So as I'm continuing to clean the street with my litter tongs, he's out there in the street ducking cars, getting the quarters and the dimes. And then when I come back, he says he was going to give it to his daughter. And that was the next biggest amount of money. Now, also cleaning around his property, one day I found like $10 bills, like a trail of $10 bills from his front door out to the curb. So I picked them up and I waited a while, and out he came. And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he goes, I lost, I lost some money." And I said, "Here." I said, "You left a trail of $10 bills." He's like, I said, "Look, they're your $10 bills. I know who they are, who owns them now, and they're yours." And that was the other time with him. But anyway, so what you're looking at there is a laser unit that goes on the top of. It might be the one for the Glock. I don't know. I sort of know some guns. I don't own a gun. Uh, I had a Daisy air rifle when I was a kid, but it had the thing in the barrel so you couldn't shoot BBs. It was a BB gun, but it had the post in the front nozzle, and it was flared in. And my father says, "If I see that missing, I'm going to take the gun away from you." So it was an air gun. When you played guns with your friends, everybody wanted that gun. And I'd end up with a stick, even though it was my gun. When we played guns, well, anyway. So over the years, different things, different guns, and people. There's people that talk about guns excessively and stuff. But there was the one guy I worked with. He quit his job with us, and he went and worked at a gun range. And I was over there. It was kind of late, and he pulled out the Glock or whatever it was, and had this unit mounted to the top of the pistol. And this is a switch. This here goes down by the hand grip, and when you squeeze your hand grip or your hand, it turns the laser on. And I was shooting shooting the laser across the street. What the hell was that company? Well, anyway, the dot didn't get that much bigger. I was totally blown away because it's a solid state laser, And up until then, there were tube lasers, which were glass tubes. Helium lasers. I think they were helium. Rubies were too expensive. But in other words, I finally got to see a laser, other than ones that were in like CD players that only had a beam that only went just so far. This thing went across the street, and you could definitely see the dot. And it was a really good unit. I don't know how good this unit is. I never looked it up online, but I was in between a bunch of cars, and I was cleaning. There's certain people when they get out of their car, they think the ground is the garbage dump. So when I found it, I never told the guy I found it. I know who this belongs to. He ain't ever getting it because he's a slob. And normally when I find something, I say, "Hey, I found this. Is this yours?" "Yeah, it's mine." "Oh, thanks a lot." I was like, didn't even ask him, because basically every time he got out, he would drop a can of soda on the side, and it was in front of his mother's house, and it was really annoying. And I knew he was doing it, and I won't go any deeper into the psychology of that guy, but yeah, you mount it on top of a gun, and that wire goes down by your hand, and when you squeeze the grip on the gun, the laser comes on. But I found some really strange things. But the bong, custom bong with the guy's name on it, was metal. I don't know if there was any gold parts. Right in the bag and right in the garbage. And I sort of know whose that was. And they're not getting it back. It's gone. They left it on my street, on the side of the curb. See, when a lot of these guys get in and out of the cars, they kick stuff in and out. I almost say they kick in. They kick stuff out on the ground, and then they don't realize it because they're high. And I come along and I'm like, yeah, that's going in the garbage. And I kind of chuckle to myself. And a lot of things, when you walk around neighborhood clean, a lot of them are those quick clamps for Razor scooters. And I used to hang on to them, and I'd ask them, but as soon as the Razor scooter would break, it's the handle that goes up and down, and it's got a quick clamp like on a bicycle seat or the wheels on a bicycle. They have that high speed clamp, so you can take the wheels off real quick or move the seat on the bike. And I used to find them, and I saved them up. And then one day I started asking around, and everybody's just staring at me. See, they don't know. They don't even know what parts missing on the Razor scooter. They just know the handlebars no longer stay up. So I said, all right, I'm dealing with that. And I just threw a whole bag of them out. But the kids go around in the neighborhood at night with their parents, and the sidewalk's kind of bumpy in spots, and it loosens up that clamp, and then it flies off somehow. And money. What I used to do is there's another story going on here. The guy that does the NYC metal detecting, Merrill is his first name. He's pretty good. I like watching him. And he started talking about no coins on the beaches. And the coins give him an idea of how deep a ring might be. So when you hit a batch of coins, you stay in that area, and you find a ring, maybe a lighter or bottle caps. But it basically gives you an idea that area is where the ocean has pushed the coins for that month, for that month, that time of year. And after a storm, and then once he finds one coin, he stays there knowing that other metals have been directed that same way. Go watch this video. He explains how the rings and coins and that are distributed in the ocean as far as metal detecting. He's written books on it. Go watch Merrill. It's called NYC Metal Detecting. But all right, here's what I'm trying to say is, he mentioned people don't. They put the coins in their bathing suit pocket, but as soon as they go in the water, a lot of times the pocket turns inside out from the pressure, and then the coins get dumped, and then the coins help him locate gold and chains. And all right, so that's what that's about. So now he just says everybody's using Apple Pay and all these other things, and I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, you're right. a few months ago or a year ago, a lottery ticket was $2. So I go for a walk, and this is a tourist area, and I'd find coins. And every time I'd get $1 or $2, was it $1 originally? Well, anyway, as soon as I get $2, I buy a lottery ticket. And it wasn't my money, it was money someone lost. And lately, I haven't found anything. Since New Year's, I found 1/4, all the places that I walk. So people aren't carrying cash anymore. And it started during COVID. So I'm like, okay. And then on top of that, the lottery ticket that I was playing is now $5. Good luck getting $5 from me. You know, the dream for $2 is pretty good. You buy your lottery ticket, and a couple days before the drawing, you dream if I should hit. Now it's $5, and the reality sets in. You basically realize you're not going to hit at $5 a pop. So I'm noticing that the jackpot doesn't build up much on that. Was it picks? It wasn't pick six. See, I don't even remember. It's the one that's the lottery between different states. Mega Millions. I got it. Mega Millions. So anyway, they're not getting $5 from me, and I'm not gonna buy a ticket because I don't find the money for free anymore. So two things happened at the same time. They raised the price of the lottery to $5 instead of $2. I don't find the money in the street anymore, and it's been. I bet it's 3 years since I found $1 just floating around, and I found a $50 bill, but it was only half of it, and it's more than half. So I'll probably give it to this guy George I know. He likes to go to the bank with half of a bill, and then get the girl to give him the full amount. And he says, yeah, you got to stand there a while, but they measure it, and if you got more than 50% of the bill, they give you the money, knowing that the other person comes in with less than 50%. That person doesn't. That's how they do it. That person won't get the money. It's funny, but I was like really excited. $50 bill. I pick it up. It's only half of it. But I used to walk everywhere, and money. It's a funny thing when you spot money on the ground. It's like it's something in your brain starts to sizzle. It's like, that's money. And you're like, you can't believe it. And then, like I said, the one time was a $100 bill. I did find a $100 bill in New Jersey when I really needed money. I was walking along, and on the base of a tree that had just been planted, a $100 bill came along and got caught. And it was like it was on the tree itself, along the base, or be the trunk of the little tree. And I looking at it like, is that real? Because there are those fake religious $100 bills, and you pick it up and it's got Jesus will save you on the other. This was a real one. That was in New Jersey. And then I took it into my friends who had a store, and I said, look, I found this. I don't know if it's, and he checked it all over. He says, no, it's real. It's not counterfeit. So then I bought a few items from the store, and that $100 lasted me quite a long time. But it came at a good time. But here, I walk along, and maybe now that I do this video, maybe I will find $1 again. But the guy I had walking with me 3 years ago, he's dead 3 years. I would point to the dollar. I said, hey, George, there's $1 for you. Oh, you don't want half of the dollar? Oh, and then one time we found a coin spill together. We were over by Wawa, and there was a big coin spill in the grass. And you say, well, I could see coins, and that's how many there were. There was signs of an altercation all around it. And I pointed to the coins. I go in Wawa with the guy's wallet and maybe his phone. And I went up to the girl, the manager, and I said, out there, was there a fight there last night? She says, oh, yeah, there was a bad fight there. I said, here's his phone and here's his wallet. And I said, there's a coin spill out there. I said, my neighbor's picking it up, but we won't mention that. But the guy must have had a lot of coins in his pocket, and when he was getting beat up and they're rolling around on the ground, it spilled out, and they broke a few plants. That's how I'm standing there pointing this stuff out, and how do you know that? George was always like, well, how do you know? I said, George, there's a cell phone on the ground. There's the guy's wallet. There's all these coins. And look at the digs in the dirt. You know, from someone rolling and kicking and screaming. Yeah, screaming can't move the dirt. But anyway, yeah, he's like, how do you figure this out? I said, George, come on, you're never going to make detective. So, yeah, I don't know if the guy got his phone back or his wallet. I didn't care. It's Wawa's property. I walk in and give it to the manager of the Wawa. Same with McDonald's. There's a section of McDonald's outside. It's a wall. And people come out of their car and they're eating their McDonald's and they leave their Apple phone. So what I do is I go by, I pick the phone up, and I go inside and I hand it to the supervisor, whoever's the supervisor. I found this phone on your property. It's out of my head. I don't, you know, I used to return phones. It's not worth it because the person, like say they're on a trip and you wait till they call and you say, I got your phone. I found it by McDonald's, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll get over there at 3 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock. We can't make it today. We got to come. So what I do is I just turn the phone into someone else. I don't care if they get it back or not. I've had people ruin my day over a cell phone. I'll be over there at 3 o'clock. This was in New Jersey. I'm walking along, and in the grass, I see a flip phone. And I had never seen a flip phone up close. And right after that, I found well, anyway, I found this other phone later on. But I see this thing in the grass, and it's up in its digital display. And I'm like, that's the new water sprinkler things? So I walked over to it and looked at it, and it's a phone. And I brought it home with me. I waited till the person called. Or actually, I called some of the numbers. And I got a guy in Yankee Stadium in the bleachers. And he had heard from his cousin that he got out of a cab and it dropped, hit his foot, and disappeared to the abyss. I said, yeah. I said, it rolled down the side of a hill. And I saw it from a distance, and I'm thought it's part of a water sprinkler. And I picked up, it was a phone, and I said, no, I'm calling the numbers on the phone. And I told the guy where I lived, and the guy knew exactly where I lived. He says, I'll meet you at the Lucky 7. So I bring the phone, and that guy kept calling me from Yankee Stadium. I gave him my regular phone number. Or maybe I was using the phone. Well, anyway, he kept calling. We're not going to get there right away. It's taking us longer. So 3 or 4 of my hours of my life was waiting around for the guy to show up. And then as I give them the phone back, he says, this is my cousin. He's a scatterbrain. And then I started realizing people that lose their phones, they're scatterbrains, okay? So they'll ruin your day, and you're trying to give the phone back. Now, the next phone I found it was a really freaking cold day, and I'm walking to the post office. This is in New Jersey. And I see scuff marks in the snow. Like someone fell really bad, and you can see the slip marks from the sidewalk, like somebody maybe was jogging into the house. They slid, they fell, they rolled around trying to get up and went in the house. And I just laughing. I was like, that's someone fell. They had a hard time getting up. And then I look, and there's a phone, and it was a Razor phone. It had no antenna. This is way back. This was like one of the first really cool phones, and it had digits on the outside of the phone. And I took it home, and I was going through the names, and it said Casa. So I click it, beep, 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 and the guy goes, hello? I said, did I wake you up? He goes, no, but this phone's telling me it's my phone calling me. I said, yeah. I said, I found it outside your house. I said, I saw the snow. Oh, and he goes, yeah, I was running to the car with the phone in his hand, and then he fell. And then, this is just what I saw. And there's the phone. In other words, he looked for the phone. He couldn't find it. But when I come along, maybe some melting had taken place, or I just spotted it under the snow. So I go over there, and he's got an envelope that says John on it and a card in it. And he's trying to pay me for bringing the phone back. And I said, that's like a Razor phone. He goes, that phone, I got that. He got it from Germany or somewhere. A friend mailed it to him. And he says, it hasn't been released in the United States yet. And he was showing me all the features. I said basically, I'll never be able to afford a phone like that, because the phone was real expensive. And then also the per month bill. I had no money at the time. I was using a regular phone with an answering machine on it. But I find them now. If it's on a like Wawa's property, I hand it to Wawa. If I'm on the highway and one's on the sidewalk, I just walk by it. I don't pick. It's never a good story. So I'm walking around, and on the curb I see a phone, and I pick it up and I go home with it. I can't get it to answer. I can't figure out how to answer. The phone keeps freaking ringing. But I went online and looked the phone up, and you have to press the icon, and swipe to the right, and it answers the phone. So now I do that, and I can hear the person, like, not breathing, but I can hear the person making noise and stuff like that. And I'm screaming into the phone, pick up the phone, pick up the damn phone, pick up the phone. And then finally, someone hears me. Yes. I said, I got your phone. Well, I'm up at Ollie's. There's a Gabe's and Ollie's, and the person says, I'm inside Ollie's now. I said, that's not where I found the phone. Well, so it's a girl, and she's with her girlfriend. And I said, okay, what neighborhood do you live in? And they really didn't want to tell me. I said, look, I'm the old guy that walks around with the litter tongs and cleans the neighborhood. You have to have seen me. Oh, yeah, we see him on. I said, I'll meet you back by blah, blah, blah spot. So her and the girlfriend come up, and they're laughing because they know me from cleaning the neighborhood. So I took them over to the spot where I found the phone, because she kept insisting I found it in Ollie's. I said, look, I was basically telling you, this is the last phone I'm going to get involved with, because this is really annoying. And I take her over to the spot, and the one girl says to the other guy, this is where your bag broke. What? Your bag, your plastic bag. Remember when it broke? And you set everything down. And I'm laughing to myself. This girl's smarter than the scatterbrain that lost the phone. Oh, yeah. I put my stuff down. Yeah, I said, you set the phone down and you walked away and left it there. It wasn't inside Ollie's. So she took the phone, and she never said thank you either. And she was telling me about this. Do you know this one kid in the neighborhood? And I won't say what he is, but in other words, he ain't that bright. Let's put it that way. He's been running around. This is years ago now. He's been ringing the doorbells trying to get everybody to vote for Trump. I said, that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, after that, now I walk by a cell phone, and if I can't give it to somebody else within a matter of 30 seconds, I keep walking. And I know I could go over to Walmart and put it in the machine, and it tests the phone, and I can get some money, but that's a stolen phone. It's sort of lost, losers, weepers, finders, keepers. I don't believe in that. I go buy a cell phone. I don't care anymore. You know, like what's his name? Oh, the guy that did the Oscar, the awards. Ricky Gervais. I don't care anymore. That's what I think of him. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care anymore. I don't know if you've ever seen Ricky Gervais do the award dinner, and he makes fun of the people. He did it 5 years in a row. Yeah, they keep calling me back. But this, go watch it. It's funny stuff. And Bill Burr, make sure you watch some Bill Burr stuff. And Ahmed, the dead terrorist. Now I'm gonna forget his name. Anyway, go watch some of the stuff I watch. I told you I watched the metal detecting guy, NYC detecting. I also started watching this guy. It's not Marlin. It's Marlin Bates. This guy makes fishing lures, and he figured out what I figured out. The bass has to see the lure, and it has to be moving, and they'll strike it. He did a round piece of wood, and it hit it. He did a square block, and it hit it. Bass are real stupid. The smartest fish is probably a perch. It'll kill the worm on you, and then it'll decide it doesn't want it. And that was my goal every year when we go fishing at Verona Lake in Verona. It was to get my perch. And you could tell the way the bobber was moving. It's a perch. It bites at the worm, and then it's very hard to hook it. And finally, sometimes it will put the worm in its mouth. You pull at the right time, you hook the pike, but the perch, and it has like a pink belly and a spot on it. Anyway, that was my goal with that. But these guys have all these websites, and I do watch this stuff, and I do get recommended stuff to me, and I yell at some of the videos. They're a waste of my time. And the one woman she's reviewing a fish tank kit, and she washes the gravel, she puts the water in the tank, and then she puts the gravel in. See, how you do it is you wash the gravel really good, then you wash it again, and then you put the gravel in the fish tank. You put a plate on it, a regular saucer, and then what you do is you slowly pour the water on the saucer, and it trickles over the edge of the saucer down into the substrate, gravel, whatever you want to call it. And very little will come up into the water. No matter how well you clean the gravel, you'll get some type of dust. So she puts the gravel in, and then she reviews it. I don't even think she put in the filter, the medium, in the filter pad itself. I don't even think she put that in right. So she's reviewing it. She says, the filter doesn't have the ability to clear the water. And I'm laughing. I'm like, you started off, you really, you washed the gravel, and I don't know how good you washed it, but you put the gravel in first, level it off. Maybe put your plants in there. I usually fill up at least 2 inches of water before I add my plants. But anyway, this woman did not review this thing. Now I'm taking it back, and I'm like, oh, that poor manager. She unwraps it all, and you can see that anybody who wants to rewrap that and resell that fish tank is going to be out of luck. But it was like a nano tank. But I see some people, they're clueless, and they do a video anyway. And then I went back, I was looking at some of my, because I'm on top of the SX42 right now doing this video. I was making sure I did cover the IF cans and then stuff like that. I really warned people. And I said at the beginning, I bought this radio because I knew it was a real challenge. And going through and changing all the capacitors, even in the IF cans, as hard as those IF cans were, it wasn't until I found the broken gear that I was like, this is it. I've had enough of this radio. But it turned out to be the bass is the thing with this radio. Once you listen to music that's got bass, even if it's AM broadcast, you get spoiled real quick. So you put the National back, and then you listen to Sweet 16 or one of these small rock music stations, oldies stations, without the bass, because they added bass from like the 50s, right, in records, and you're like, I'm spoiled. I really messed up. So by putting this radio, the SX42, back in place and playing it a few times, once you've had it, you can't go back. Then I did some more reading on the SX42, and at the time it was the best radio Hellcrafters had. But I told you, it's made out of shit parts. And then this one other guy was leaving me messages or comments, and he's got one. And yeah, when it works, it's really good. But to get there, it was a lot of work. And it was more work than I wanted. I wanted to stay busy. I didn't want to stay frustrated. And I went on to do other radios. And after a while, I realized they're all an RCA patent. There's a few part difference changes. There are a few parts that are different, but basically what you're dealing with is the same patent. And they might put the controls on different sides of the radio, but that's why I got so good with the repairing the circuit, because it's the same circuit on each radio. And they use different parts and maybe different IF cans, but it's still the same radio. I think that's it. All right, that's it.